All right, guys, I'm sitting here with Patty Durrell. She owns Rock Solid Personal Training,
Rock Solid Fitness, yeah.
Rock Solid Fitness
Yeah.
in Dunedin, Florida. She's been here for how long?
So we've been in business since 2011 and in this location since 2016.
Okay, and you've been, so this is a high intensity training studio. This is a studio that does the strength training protocol that I talk about online. And as you notice, I'm still out of breath. We got done with the workout about 10, 15 minutes ago and I'm still out of breath. So
It was 7 exercises.
this nice lady kicked my ass, okay? Which is it's probably gonna be the title of the training video is this lady kicked my ass. It's probably what I'm gonna say. So what I want to do the video about is high intensity training for women. Because people look at me and they say, oh, well, that's, what about women? How do women train? Do women need to train differently? So, like I explained, probably about 80% of my clients were women, and you have experience with a lot of women as well. Do women need to train differently, or can they do just a basic high intensity training protocol?
Personally, I think every woman should be doing
Share the mic.
high intensity training protocols, Jay. I've been doing it for 32 years. It's the best thing that I've ever done for myself. I'm not an athlete. I didn't know how to train properly before. And once I was turned on to this style of training, it changed my body. It changed my life. It changed my confidence, the way I think about myself. It's just hands down been the best thing. So women, I do exactly what I put you through. I get on the same leg press, the same pullover, and I do all of the things that I put you through. I don't get trained, or I don't train by myself. I get trained by a coach, so I have to sit there and listen to what they tell me to do, just like you had to sit and do what I told you to do. So same. I don't treat women differently than men. I don't treat old people differently than young people. It's just intensity is self-generated.
So women they don't need to be trained differently.
They do not need to be trained differently. No, I think if you have there's no pink dumbbells in this place on purpose. Like, we don't want anything pink or feminine in here because this is hard work. And women go through labor. I can't think of a more intense bout of effort than going through labor.
I know.
I mean, I've never had a baby, right? But you think about that, and a lot of women are told, don't train, don't work out for that. There's nothing more intense than trying to have a baby for 12, 24 hours. Some women are in intensive.
And I believe Doug McGuff said that when you're doing this type of training, it actually makes the giving birth less laborious. It makes it less stressful, less painful for stronger individuals. And I believe he said women go through his studio doing high intensity training and then giving labor and had nothing but good feedback. Is that true?
Oh yeah, that's been my experience with women. I've never been pregnant, but I can remember training a woman on her 3rd pregnancy. She did ball squats with me in the morning, worked her butt off, and in the afternoon had her baby. She said it was the easiest pregnancy and birth through all of her 3, and she was, recovered much quicker than the first 2. And I've heard that story over and over again. She's the only woman that had her baby the day she trained, but that was pretty impressive. Yeah.
What about, a lot of women after they have their children, they have a lot of excess weight that they want to get rid of. In your experience, do women stay in better shape during pregnancy, and is it easier for them to get that excess of weight off after pregnancy? Have they been training all along? I know my sister did CrossFit through her first pregnancy, and about 3 months after giving birth, she had her 6-pack back.
Yeah, I think it depends on how the woman is, treating her nutrition beforehand, but certainly strength training is going to help. If you have more muscle on your body, you should be able to recover quicker. I hesitate to get into weight loss, fat loss, things around strength training, because especially when women are pregnant and their hormones are out of whack, and
let them go.
Some women do, they just let it go, and then they put on more weight than they need to. But I think in general, if you're working out, you're just paying attention more to your health overall, more to what you're eating, because you're putting in an effort. You probably want some results. You probably aren't going to eat maybe as bad as you would have. So I always think that even if you're pregnant and you're strength training and you're eating more than you should, it's probably not as bad as if you weren't strength training, right? Or
Right.
weren't doing something good for your health.
Yeah, and that's because you're going to be way more metabolically efficient to
Yeah,
start.
for sure.
Now, one common misconception about strength training, high intensity training, is that women think they're going to buff up and look
Get
like
big
me.
muscles, right.
Okay. Now, what do you have to say about women who are afraid to do strength training or high intensity training or a program like my Golden Era system because they're afraid they're going to get too muscular? What's your response to that?
Yeah, I love that question. And I have 3 things that I usually say about that. One, genetically, if you're someone who has a genetic potential to do that, I can't help that, right? If you're not taking performance enhancing drugs or some kind of drug and you don't have those genetics, you're not going to build big muscles, period.
And you need both of those aspects.
I think you need both of
Yeah.
those things. And you could generally look at your family and know. Or you probably are a woman who's like, I've had women come in and say, listen, when I was doing XYZ sport in college, I got really big through strength training. I don't want to be that big. And I'm like, you know what? It's an easy fix. This is the third thing. If your muscles are getting too big, we just dial your resistance back. It's a super easy fix. So yeah, go for it. See how much you can build muscle and get it to the point where you like it. And if you don't like it, you could always dial it back. But most women don't lose the fat, right? And their muscle grows and the fat gets pushed out more. So that's a thing too. So that might be the 4th thing we could talk about with that.
A lot of women, they're really focused on getting tone and
Oh, I hate
getting lean. I know that's not the correct definition of muscle
But I
tone,
love-
by the
I
way.
love it. I
This
mean-
this is muscle tone.
Right.
But explain why intense strength training is important for women who want to get lean and want to have a more aesthetically pleasing physique. Why is it so important?
Well, first, you're never going to adapt muscular size or strength if you don't hit failure. Like, you need to hit momentary muscular failure just to get the most benefit out of it. So that's high intensity training pretty much by definition. 2, you're going to waste a lot of time and a lot of wear and tear on your joints if you're using light weights thinking you're toning. Like, I think women don't even know what tone means, and what they really mean when they say that is, I want to see more muscle. So if you want to see more muscle, then you got to lose the fat and build the muscle. Because that's really what I think women are talking about when they're talking about tone, right? Mm-hmm. But the fear is that I'm going to get big if I use big muscles. Well, it's easy for me, Jay, because I can say I'm a really strong woman. I could leg press over 300 pounds, and look at me.
You're about 120,
I'm
right?
125.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big woman, but I'm strong as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, be as strong as you can be and as small as you can be, and you're going to live your best life. Mm-hmm. And muscle strength and size don't go hand in hand. You can get stronger without getting bigger.
That's the desirable effect,
That's
generally.
the desirable. For a woman, that might be more desirable. But I say, you know what? If you're growing your muscles and you're seeing them more, you're gonna love it when you're doing your hair and you see your traps and your bicep and you have your strapless dress on or your backless shirt and you can see muscles. You are not gonna hate it. You are gonna love it as a woman. So women should be doing high intensity strength training. They should be working as hard as they can do, as heavy as they can do, and as safe as they can do. And I know you deliver that.
Yeah.
High intensity, safe strength training is really
Now,
the best.
one more topic. I was actually giving a talk for Matt Brisky.
Yeah.
At Princeton.
Yep.
And one of the individuals asked the question, I've gotten this question a million times in my studios, is what about menopausal women or postmenopausal women? This lady was under the impression that they need something different because of their hormone fluctuations. Is this true? And is high-intensity strength training good for menopausal women?
I think it's excellent for menopausal women. I am postmenopausal. I worked out throughout my whole menopause symptoms and signs. I think there's changes that happen to your body that you're not going to like. Hands down, it just happens. But what's the best way to combat that is to keep your muscles strong, to push your skin out. I mean, what we don't like is the way our skin looks different, right? The way we get more of a belly. And that's mostly gravity, right? I mean, that happens even before menopause comes in. But hormone changes. Yeah, you're gonna maybe put on a little bit more in your fat pad. So maybe you need to change your diet. Not as much wine anymore, which is what we want to do when we're going through menopause, is drink and be miserable. Or maybe not so much sugary foods, right? Paying more attention to your nutrition is super important. But high intensity training does what? produces healthy hormones. The more we stress our muscles in our body, the more happy, healthy hormones we produce. Testosterone, right? I mean, all of the things that we start to deplete, we can start to increase with strength training. So I've done this for, like I said, for 32 years I've been doing this. I think that, I just did a big blood panel, and my hormones are not postmenopausal, they're premenopausal. And I don't know this to be true, but I have to say it's because I've been doing strength training this way for a long time and eating a decent, way for a long time, and maybe genetics. But I think that the worst thing you could do is not strength train. For bone density, this is the best way to train. For good, happy, healthy hormones, for your muscular development and your sanity. I mean, you've got to have some kind of an outlet for yourself. And you'll sleep better on the days that you train, which is, there's so many reasons, Jay, that menopausal, premenopausal, postmenopausal, every woman should be doing this for bone density, for, metabolic efficiency. I can go on about it.
And how often a week do you train most clients?
Twice.
2 times.
2 times 25 minutes.
25 minutes apiece.
Full body workouts.
Okay, so
Neck
we're
to
talking.
ankles.
So not only that, not only is it desirable for menopausal, postmenopausal women who may have, by the time you hit your 50s, your joints are a little beat up unless you've been training correctly the whole way through. So it's safer and it's more efficient. And a lot of the reason people don't go to the gym is because they don't want to invest the time.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 hours a week.
Yeah.
And you're getting these great results for these women with just 50 total minutes a week of training.
Yeah.
And what about cardio?
I mean, we don't promote cardio. If we do our training right, people's heart is going up and down really significantly. I mean, your heart rate was at 160 after your leg press. Mine gets way up there, and interval training is the best for our cardiovascular efficiency. But I think being active is super important. You can't sit all the time. You have to get up and move. You have to be active. And I recommend that you go do that in nature with someone you love, with an animal, like purposeful activity
Play.
is really play activity. I love that. I love the way you said that, play activity. And when you're going through menopause, if you're having, a lot of women go through that without any problems. But if you're unfortunate and you're going through a lot of problems with it, getting out in nature is also really meditative for you. And I think you just need to take care of yourself a little bit more during that time. Give yourself a little bit grace and surround yourself with things and people that are going to bring you joy.
Speaking of that, one last question. Have you had any anecdotes or testimonials from clients who have said once they started doing the strength training, they felt overall happier?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have for some reason, we had like maybe 5 or 6, I'm going to say like women in their late 60s, early 70s join all at the same time. And let me tell you, every single one of them have changed completely in this environment. They came in kind of not happy, kind of like I would say kind of frumpy, just with a cloud over their head. And now they come in with pink hats and pink lipstick and pink shirts and just sporting themselves. Confidence, happy, joy. Like it's totally, I mean, I see it every day. We just had one of those women, I was like, do you realize that you're like a different person? She's like, oh yeah, and I was working out at another gym 5 days a week, sometimes 6 for an hour. I was wasting my time. She's like, I come in here twice a week and I'm feeling awesome. So, I mean, those kinds of testimonials, if we could get women to say that on a camera, so every other woman could hear that, I think that they would be super happy that they started strength training in a high intensity training fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. High intensity training when it comes to women. This type of training applies to both men, women, old, young. I've had clients that had MS in a wheelchair. I had a client with Down syndrome. I had a client with one leg.
Yeah.
I had a client with a frozen shoulder. You name it.
Yeah.
Everybody can exercise
That's right.
using this approach safely.
Yeah.
And it's no different for women. I highly encourage. I know a lot of my audience is men. Tell your wives, girlfriends, sisters, aunts, mothers, grandmothers, they should be doing this type of training because it is unbelievably beneficial for not only their health, their hormones, their longevity, how active they are, and their happiness and confidence.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. So I do want to make one comment. The same struggle you have convincing women to work with you is the same struggle I have convincing someone like you to work with me. What the heck am I going to do for a guy with big muscles, right? So we both have to overcome that, and I think that you will,
Yep.
and I know I will.
Yeah, I mean, the human physiology is the human physiology.
That's right.
That's just the way it is. So, if you guys want an introduction to high intensity training, go to goldenerasystem.com. My program is available. Download it. Show all the women in your life. Have them do exactly what I'm doing, exactly what you're doing. If you're in the Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete area, Rock Solid Fitness is in Dunedin, Florida. Patty's happy to take on any more clients. They're packed, obviously. They've been here for a while. But I'll put the link to their website in the description below. If you come visit her for a workout or one of her trainers, you are going to be in utter shock how difficult and how effective and how fulfilling it is. Like, I do this for a living. I train myself. I train other people. But when I have an experienced trainer take me through a workout, it's like the first time you've done it. And I am going to go to bed at 9 p.m. tonight.
Awesome.
Thank you, Patty, for the workout. Thank you for
Jay.
taking some time
Thank you, Jay.
to dispel some of these myths with women training. And I encourage you guys, tell all the women in your life about this because you will be doing them a service.
They will
Okay?
love you. They will thank you.
Yep. goldenerasystem.com for my program. Rock Solid Fitness. Check that out on Google. Click the link in the description. And be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell. So you're notified when I give you more science-based fitness information to help you get the best body in as minimum time spent in the gym as possible. See you later.